here, and today we're going to look at where to get the 3 robot parts models, and we're looking at where to get them all in one location. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dump out all my scrap because I have 2 goals here. I want to see if it's worth scrapping the retreat here, and also we're going to look at where at in the retreat we can get these 3 robot parts models. They're all in one room located on the south side. Now here we are on the map. As you can see, I got my survival tent down and at the retreat. There's a lot of good scrap here. There's a decent amount of lead and steel. Not as much as like the penitentiary, something like that, but what we're going to do here is basically run through and see what we get. So we can see here that I have dumped all my scrap except for a medical scanner that I need to return to Ward. So I'll do that later. But here we're just going to scrap this whole place. So I'm going to run through the first part really quick here and hit all of the houses. Now this does take a few minutes, but if you're in the area or if you're completing this mission for the Brotherhood, which most people have already done, but it is definitely worth scrapping this area because we're going to see the amount of materials we get out of this one area, considering that there are usually no enemies here. Occasionally you might run into some, but most of the time you can get in here and get out without expending any ammunition at all. And the scrap that we'll see doesn't even count the amount of food and several weapons and ammo that we find laying around. We get quite a bit, and as you can see here, we're just running through the main areas, trying to get as much as I can. I want to see if it's worth our time to come here. Even some weights back there, we saw that. Few weapons. So by the time we scrap all this, we're going to get a pretty good bit. But there's 2 rooms in particular that I always pay attention to, and one of them's on the west side of the compound. And as we can see, I'm almost done with the entire place except for the last 2 buildings. One on the west side and one on the south side. So we're going to go to the one on the west side as soon as we get this little part right here. Going to get these, see what's in that, and here we go. Now to get to this building, you just head all the way to the west side basically of the compound, and you'll run into a building with a locked door. This place you can pick the lock, nobody's going to say anything, and there are multiple paint cans in here along with combination wrenches, some rat poison, so you can walk out of here with a decent amount of lead. I know for me, I use 4 lead, 10 steel, and 3 gunpowder to make 43 45 rounds. So if I pull out 20 lead, that's 200 rounds of ammo for me right there, and that's not to count the adhesive and all the other stuff we get here. But the robot parts models are what we really came for, but I wanted to get all this other stuff while we're here. Alright, so now that we've scrapped the building that was locked, we're going to make our way to the south side of the compound. And here we go. And you'll see a building with a red door right here. Building with a red door. You walk in and you're going to see someone laying on the bed. Sometimes she's up and about, but usually laying on the bed here. And it's Sarah Matthews. And when she gets up, she will basically have on a vampire costume. But here beside the bed, we find the first robot parts model. And since I'm scrapping everything, I'm going to try and get that little Mr. Fuzzy back there. No, I don't need anything. Let's jump up here and get this. Just don't want to miss. I'm sure I missed something here, but I want to just tally up how much scrap we get along with these parts models. Usually find a bobblehead here too. Found an energy bobblehead last time. I didn't find one this time. Every one of the toys is 1 lead also. There's a Halloween hat. Some more stuff. And there's the 3rd robot parts model. So that is the 3 robot parts models, and we're going to look at them in just a second here. And not going to bother with that. All right, there's another one. Probably a couple of grenades in that chest. So now I'm just going to run back across to my survival tent and to my scrap box, and we're just going to look and see what all we're going to get out of this. Was it worth it? First thing I'm going to do though before I go to scrap it is I'm going to drop my parts models here in my tent because I don't want to accidentally scrap those, and I want to see everything, the totals of everything here. So if I go to scrap all, as we can see, 12 adhesive, tin adhesive, 12 acid, aluminum, antiseptic, asbestos, bone, ceramic, cloth, copper, cork. We got a lot of good stuff. Lead, 49. That's not a bad run considering that's as much as you get out of a lot of the more popular locations. And then we get down to steel, and we got over 100 steel. So this is actually a decent, I probably wouldn't come all the way out here just for the lead, but it's a decent amount of scrap that we pulled out of here. Now let's look at these robot parts models and see what the difference is between the three of them. Now they can be found in other locations too. You can find them at Robco, also Duncan Robotics. And here we see the first one. And as you can see, it's a Protectron top, or top half, with a Sentry bot bottom half. Doesn't do anything, but just sort of a, I won't say unique item, but more rare item. Another Robots part model has a Sentry bot top and a Mr. Handy bottom, or it could be a Mr. Gutsy, but it looks like a Mr. Handy because it doesn't have all the weapons down there. And the third one is a Mr. Handy top and Protectron body, or Protectron legs and arms. And these look pretty good on display. I like to collect a lot of things in this game, and pretty fun to display them in your camp. But that's where we get the three robot parts models. You can find them there once a day. I always go on a private world if I'm looking for them to make sure that they're gonna be there, because it does get frustrating to go looking for something and somebody else has already got it. So I hope the video helps. Hope it's informative. Thanks a lot for watching. For now, Gold out.